Going to be recording this for people who couldn't make it with us tonight. Welcome to the summer edition of Grief and Bereavement Therapy. Everything goes by really quick in the summer. You're probably all familiar with how quick it goes. So tried to load you up with as much information in the beginning as possible. But I'm glad that you're all here. And I'm sure there's more to come. I know there was people that had told me they were planning on coming tonight. And none of the meetings that the class meetings that I have scheduled, and there's only a couple of them, are mandatory. And I will be recording it and posting it within 24 hours. So you'll be able to see everything. You won't miss anything. But I do hope that that you'll be able to attend most of them. My name is Beverly Rogers, and I have been teaching this course now for a little over 10 years. I took over from Sandra Lopez. Some of you may know her. She's a little bit of an icon in the social work circles in the Houston area, in the Texas and probably beyond area. And she taught this course for a number of years before that. So if you listen to the lecture that I posted for this term, you'll know that I am a psychotherapist in private practice. I also have about 20 years of experience working in hospice, and I'm a clinical supervisor. So I've done a bunch of things in social work, but mostly centered around that grief and loss topic. And so I have a lot of stories to tell. And if you listen to some of the lectures that are posted, you'll hear some of those. And I'm happy to talk to any of you about what I do, what I did, and if you wanted to talk about career paths or anything like that. So tonight, I thought what I would do is go over the syllabus and the course schedule, and then answer any questions that you had. Jennifer, you had something you wanted to ask?
I didn't realize I was on mute. I apologize about that.
Okay. Did you? Okay, so you had your hand raised, Jennifer, but you don't have a question?
I don't see where my hand's raised. I
It
don't have a
was,
question.
it went off. So,
Oh,
okay.
strange. Okay.
Sorry. Okay. Sorry.
All good.
I don't want to miss
Not a
anything.
worry.
And
Certainly. Thank you.
I apologize too in advance with this Canvas thing. I am just learning it, and this is my first foray, as I guess it is for most of you. So hopefully we can learn together. But as you go through the course materials, please, if you find stuff that I have the wrong dates on or things are confusing, just let me know. I know for the worksheet, there's a place to submit it in Canvas, and I also there's a place on the worksheet that says to email it to me. Either is fine. I know how to find it on either one, so don't worry about that. Let's see. So the technology, that's something that I'm usually pretty good at, but this is a new thing, so I'm just learning it. So I appreciate your indulgence on that. And it's perfectly fine if you want to leave your camera off. I don't have a rule about that, except it would be nice if when you're speaking, if you can turn your camera on. It's not required, but it would be a good thing if you wanted to ask a question or share a story or something, to turn your camera on. So let me see if I can share some stuff here. Okay. So here is the syllabus. Can you guys see? Just somebody say yes or no that you can see my screen.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thanks. Okay, so the textbook is Worden's Grief Counseling and Grief Therapy, 5th edition. As you're reading it, you'll see that there really needs to be a 6th edition. 2018 predates, or it doesn't have much information, if any, as I recall, on the DSM-5. It's pretty dated in a lot of ways. When I took this course a few years ago now, we were in the 2nd edition. So he does update it periodically, and I keep looking to see that. But for the most part, the information is relevant and very, very accessible and readable. It's not your typical textbook, and it is something that I use all the time in my practice. So I think you will find it, like I said, to be accessible and readable, and it won't be hard to keep up with the readings on that. The other thing that you will be watching is this movie Rebirth, and it's free if you use the link there in your syllabus, from Academic Video Online. I already tried it out. You just have to sign in with your CougarNet account. If you don't have that, or you don't want to use that, you can rent it from Amazon and all of the streaming services for about $4 or $5. So what this movie does is it follows 7 people who were survivors of the 9/11 attacks in New York. And there's no pictures of buildings coming down, nothing like that. It's just talking with people who lost loved ones in that attack. And I think there's one person who was actually in the building and survived. And so it's looking at all the things that you will be learning in this course and seeing them play out in the real world with these people. Oh, and they interview them once a year for 7 years. So it's a very useful tool, and I think you will enjoy it. There's another Rebirth film, I think, that has to do with apocalypse and stuff like that. So make sure you don't get that one. Make sure you get the one that's about the 9/11 survivors. So this is how the grading works out, and then I'll go into a little bit more detail, as I did in my video, because there's still some questions about the assignments. So there's a case study worksheet that is in your materials under the grief and family section, and it gives a case study and then some questions after that. So all you have to do is read the case study and answer the questions and hand that in. That's 5% of your grade. There are 2 discussion posts, and you'll respond to those and also respond to your colleagues' answers to those. And so you're required to respond to the 2 posts and to at least 1 per post of your colleagues. So the first one, you give your answer and you engage with another student and their response. I have to admit, the grading on this one is pretty subjective, but what I'm looking for is substantive engagement. So if you have 20 responses and they all say thumbs up, or I agree with you, or good post, then you're not going to get that many points for that. But if you have 1 response to a colleague that says, I agree with you and this is why, or I disagree with you and this is why, or I appreciate this point that you raised because, then those substantive things are going to get more points. But those discussion posts are 15% of your grade. And included in that will also be another portion of the research project, which I will talk about in a minute. There's a grief timeline paper. I'll explain that. And then the group research project and the quizzes are the bulk of your grades. So 35% for the group research project, and then the 2 quizzes. Quiz 1 should be available tonight and will be available until for 2 weeks. And we'll go over the schedule in a minute. And then the second quiz will be available for the second 2 weeks of the course. So there'll be 30 questions plus 2 extra credit questions on each quiz. There'll be multiple choice and true and false. And they will be based on all of the readings, lectures, all of the course materials, up to, you know, when each one starts and ends. It's open book, open notes. You can do whatever you want. You can look at whatever you want. You just cannot collaborate with another student. So you can't all get together, you know, 3 or 4 of you and say, okay, we're going to work on the quiz tonight. You take 1 to 5, you take 6 to 8 or something. You have, when you hit submit at the end, you are attesting that this is your work and your work only. That's the only caveat to that, those particular assignments. So let me go down to the addenda. At the end, there's a lot, or appendix, sorry. So, okay, first is the grief timeline, which is 15% of your grade. And if you engage with this topic, you get full points. I've never given anybody less than 15 points on this, or 15, you know, 100%. If I feel like you haven't really engaged in the assignment, then I will come back to you and say, give it another go. But I've never given anybody less than the full points on this. The purpose of this assignment is twofold. The first is for you to start to become aware or reacquaint yourself with your own grief and loss history, because when you're dealing with clients, it will come up. It'll bubble up. So just to be aware of that. And the second thing is to give you a tool that you can use in working with grieving clients. So what the assignment is you create a timeline like this, and this is in the syllabus that's on Canvas. It can look like this. It can look with pictures or pie charts or all sorts of things. But what I need to see is, you know, dates, who or what the loss is, and how they're related to you. So, you know, for instance, okay, the date on the first one is 1977. The person who was lost is Robert, and it was father's father. And then you can see in 1995, there was one about divorce. There might be something, some students put in, you know, a move, or, you know, a loss of a friendship, some other things like that. So whatever you consider to be a significant, or, you know, whatever kind of loss is comes to mind for you, do a pictorial representation of that. And then you prepare an analysis of the experience that you had in preparing the timeline. And to do that, you respond to this prompt that I have in quotes there. So what I'm not asking you to, for instance, I'm not asking for you to say, when Robert, my father's father, died, this is what it was like for me. Or when I got a divorce, this is what it was like for me. What I am asking you to do is say, in preparing this timeline, this is what it was like for me. And some students have said, you know, it was really interesting what losses I put down and what losses I left off. It was really difficult for me to see how many losses I've had and how close together. I never put it all together before. Or gosh, it was weird that I just really haven't had that many losses in my life. So that's what I'm looking for, is for you to look at the experience of putting together this timeline and do a paper on that. And the paper should be no less than a page double spaced and no more than 2 pages, because I got to grade them all, and this is this is a short session. So I don't think you can do it in less than a page, and that's in addition to the picture. So don't do like a great big picture and then just a little bit of analysis. So there's the picture, and then there's a page or two of analysis. So that's the grief timeline, and you'll submit that on Canvas. I got to stop saying Blackboard, on Canvas. So does anybody, before we move on, have any questions about that assignment? Like I said, I'm not here to grade your experience. I'm looking to see that you have engaged. And if you've engaged, then, you know, then you get full points. Arlo, you had a question?
Yeah, are you looking, or how many deaths are you looking to be included, or are you interested in a particular death in the time frame that led to that? Or are you interested in a time frame with deaths that may have occurred in that? Because there were several different events on that timeline, as opposed to, for example, one individual with a death that kind of was over a 5-year period. Or are you looking for, you know, this death occurred here and so died here and somebody else died here? Or is that a little bit open to decision?
Yeah, I'm looking for you to explore what losses were meaningful to you in your life. So
Okay.
when you sit down to say, what were my losses? And you put them down, well, you know, whatever they were. And, you know, some things you may not see as a loss, some things you might not see as significant enough to include. But I'm just asking you to take a look. That's why I'm not saying you'll get an A or a B or a C. You know, if you take a look and you say, these are the things that were important to me, and this is why I put them down, then, you know, that's all I need. And what was uncomfortable about it, or what was familiar about it, you know, read the prompt and respond to the prompt. But that's, yeah, that what you include or don't include is completely up to you. Courtney, you had a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify. So when you say that the picture is going to be part of the 1 to 2 pages, correct?
Right. You will submit the picture along with the 1 to 2 pages, but it doesn't count as part of your 1 to 2 pages. So you still need at least a page of analysis
of writing. Okay. So for the picture or the timeline that we add, are you expecting it just to be one continuous line, like one line with all of the names or events that we put on there? Or can it be like broken up into 2 or 3?
You can, yeah, I mean, whatever, you know, whatever format it needs to take, if it's too long for one, or if you want, I've had students do like, you know, they use, you know, I don't even know what programs they use, and they have like different shapes, or they have, you know, circles or whatever. All I want is to see that you have done that kind of analysis, and that you see where those losses occurred in different times of your life.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else have a question on that? Luann?
Yes, hi. Can we draw it freehand, or does it have to be and like scan it in, or does it have to be on a computer program?
No, absolutely. Whatever you need to do. You can scan it, you can draw it. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not grading on, you know, art or, you know, anything like that. You know, whatever you need to do to get the information out and on paper.
Thank you.
And even if you just, you know, struggle with, like I do sometimes with, you know, just getting things lined up or anything, if you just wanted to type them in order, 1, date, you know, loss, you know, name, 2, you know, you don't even have to have a particular, a pictorial representation. It is something that can be useful to then look back on and say, oh, just seeing it in order. And it has been useful for me in dealing with clients, it sort of brings out those pictures and that the artistic part of it, gets people talking and gets people thinking. So, but that's up to you. I don't want you to stress about that. So I don't want you to stress about anything because things are going really fast, and I want you to just do what you need to do to get it done. So, Tanisha?
Okay, I'm sorry. I kind of zoned out for a second and I'm not understanding the link, this picture thing. Can you do, the picture is supposed to be with the timeline and with the analysis of the timeline? And what should the picture be of again?
Okay, hang on. So this is what it looks like in the syllabus. Okay.
Right.
So this here is what
No,
I'm
I got the
talking about,
timeline.
picture. Huh?
Oh, that's the picture you want, the picture of the timeline?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I thought it was a personal picture. I was gonna go get my hair done.
No. No. This is what I'm talking about when I talk about the artwork or the picture or the timeline, just that, plus a
Gotcha.
page or two of analysis.
Okay, I got you.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. So I already talked about the worksheet. That's pretty straightforward. And that's 5% of your grade. So the research project, okay. On your, I guess you all got the email, and there's an announcement on Canvas where this worksheet is attached. And this Appendix 3 in your syllabus pretty much explains this project in detail, as I did also on the introductory lecture that's on Canvas. But let me just say that the purpose of this project is for you to see grief, how grief is experienced in different practice settings. So not just hospice, not just, grief therapy, but, in the prisons, in the school, in different agencies that deal with refugees, or, and most people, when they are approaching this project, go to their field placement, because that's the easiest thing to do. But you don't have to, and I have several agencies that I can assign you to. But what happens with this project is you will pair up or get in a group of at least 2, but no more than 4 others, 3 other students, for groups of 2 to 4 is what I'm trying to say. And you will pick an agency, you will do some research on that population and that agency. You will interview somebody in that agency, by phone or Zoom or whatever you want. And you will prepare a presentation, a 20-minute or so presentation for the class on that agency. And if you look in this, there will be, this is the presentation and what the elements of the presentation should be. So you'll do a presentation. You will also prepare, and that's 20% of the 35%. You will also prepare a 1-page paper, single-spaced, intervention guidelines, and that's per group. So presentation and intervention guidelines are per group, 1 per group. And the intervention guidelines are not a rehash of your presentation. What they are is a tool for the other students in the classes to use if they encounter someone in that population who, is struggling with grief and loss. So there, you would have a little paragraph about who the population is, then a list of maybe 4 or 5 practical interventions that they can perform, and then some citations at the bottom, articles or other resources that you have used to put that and your presentation together. Okay. So that is the second part. And that will be handed in on a Blackboard discussion post. There'll just be a place for you to post it so that your colleagues can access it. And then the third part of it, the last 5%, is a self-evaluation. So you will get to evaluate yourself and the other members of your group on 3 separate categories. And then I drop the highest and the lowest, and whatever the average of the rest of those scores are will be your score for that 5%. So here's the project worksheet that you all should have by now. If you have people that that you want to do this group with, you'll put their name and email address. Please give me your email address too, especially if you are submitting it on Canvas, because I might not have your email address. I'll have to, I definitely wouldn't have the one that you might want to use if it's not your school one. So please include your email address on that too. You can put your name in there and your email address. If you don't have a group, you don't have people that you want to work with, just indicate, please assign me to a group, and then put a check mark if you prefer just to work in a pair, or if you prefer to work in a big group, or a group of up to 4 people. So, and then please, if you have an agency that you would like to work with, please indicate first, second, and third choices. And if you have a type of population that you are interested in, put that there if you don't have a specific agency, so that I can try to tailor it. If I can, I will do my best to tailor, because I've got a list of colleagues that are willing to interview with you. So I'll try to match you up as well as I can. The reason I have first, second, and third choices is so that we don't have everybody interviewing the same agency or the same type of agency, so that we have some variety. So, tick off this box if you want me to assign you to an agency that you don't have one. But even if you want me to assign, please give me an idea of what population you'd like to work with or learn more about. So that's that form. And then this is for future. This is the self-grading sheet that you'll do at the end of everything. Okay, so this sheet I need from you by tomorrow night at midnight, so that I can get everybody assigned and get you guys started, because things go really quickly. How this will work in practical terms is everybody, you'll have your groups, you'll have your agencies, you'll do the work, and then you'll give your presentation. You will sign up for a presentation slot, and I'll show you in a minute where you can get that link. And then everyone is also required, as part of the participation grade, and this is what I alluded to earlier. As part of your participation grade, you've got to watch 6 other presentations. And that number may go up or down depending on how many groups we end up with, but it'll probably be around 5 or 6. And what you can do is look on the spreadsheet and see when people are presenting and tune in when, and then just sign your name in the chat and you'll get credit for it. If you're not able to do that, I will be posting all of the presentations on a discussion board and you can go in and do a brief comment and then you'll get credit for it that way. But you have to, in addition to your own presentation, you have to view at least 5 or 6. I think it'll probably be 6 others. And that will not be part of this grade. It will be part of your participation grade. So it's answer, if participation is 2 discussion posts and viewing 6 of these presentations. Courtney.
Oh, I'm sorry, Courtney. How long are these presentations again?
I'm sorry,
How long are the presentations again?
15 to 20 minutes. Shouldn't be any longer than that. Just, and also to be kind to your colleagues so that they don't have to listen to 45-minute presentations for 6 of them. So they should be
15, 20
15 to
minutes,
20
and we gotta
minutes.
watch 6 of them.
Yes,
Okay,
yes, which is,
okay,
hour and a half to 2 hours, yeah. But if you show up on, then, and watch it live, all you have to do is type your name in and,
okay. That's reasonable.
I'm required to have 4 opportunities for face-to-face, so these are part of that. The other part of that is that the end of next week, everybody, all the groups have to sign in for a 15-minute check-in so that I know that you have, that you're on track, that you haven't had trouble contacting your agency, that you're doing okay with giving out assignments and that everybody's pulling their weight, that there's no interpersonal problems that I can assist with, or that you don't have questions. And so the end of next week, you should have at least contacted the person that you're going to interview at your agency. And had a preliminary meeting with your group and distributed tasks. So, and that's because believe me, I've gotten calls, all of these things that I've set up are because things have happened in the past. So I've gotten calls like 2 days before a presentation. Oh, we haven't been able to get in contact with anybody at the agency, or, oh, so-and-so hasn't done anything and I've done everything. And if you do that, I can't help you. So, I try to catch things as quickly as possible, as close to the beginning of the process, but still giving you some time to process and work through those things. So, so you'll be signing up for that. I'll show you where that is. And you'll be signing up for a presentation slot on my Google Docs. I'm sure there's a better way to do that now through Canvas, but I haven't learned that yet. So we'll go the old-fashioned way with Google Docs. Everything that we do in this course will be on this link that you're on tonight. So all of my office hours, which are Mondays from 5 to 6, all of our meetings for the other class meetings, all of these check-ins and the presentations, everything is on this link that you're on tonight. So it's just very simple. This I'm told that the link that is set up on Canvas doesn't work yet. So just use the link as it's provided in your syllabus. And obviously you guys made it here tonight, so you found a way to do that. Courtney, did you still have a question? Okay, you didn't get the email, but it was under the Canvas announcements. Okay.
I want to ask, but you might hear my baby crying in the background. He's fine. So I know you already said it, but I may have missed it. I know you said if we attended the, sorry, I swear he's fine.
Yeah, if
we
you
attended the
attend it,
presentation,
if
we
you,
just
at-
have to type our name.
right, if you attend it, all you gotta do is type your name.
Okay.
If you attend it live, if you watch it later, I need you to type a comment that shows you that you were that shows me that you watched it. That's all. So if you can,
Thank you.
it's easiest if you're able to attend it live. And I apologize. Again, in Blackboard, if I posted it on announcements, it went out in an email. So I guess that's not how it works here. So I know that for future. Sorry.
Hi, I have a silly question.
Okay.
I was listening, I promise. I got
It's okay.
distracted also with my children. Are you talking about the one on Friday where we have like the group project? I'm sorry, what are we supposed to respond to? I
Oh,
think I've lost that piece.
for tomorrow night? By tomorrow night, I need that worksheet.
Okay,
If you have a group already, I just need one worksheet. But if you're handing in just for yourself, I need, I need from everybody that's, hasn't been in a group. And just send it to me. Okay, let me get it up again here. So here's the worksheet.
On the bookshelf.
Um, I guess I wasn't good at indicating where to put your name. So put your name here where it says student name and your email address.
okay.
If you're sending it by email, obviously I'll have your email, but it would be helpful if you put it on the form. So you put that, you fill in, what group what size group you want to be in, and what agency or population type preference you have. And if you want me to assign you, and I will do my best to get you assigned to a group and to the size group that you want, and also to the type of agency that you have indicated. I may not be successful, so I ask your indulgence on that, but I'll do the best I can to match you.
And
But
then,
just put your
Oh.
name here and your email address.
and then for next Friday, is it this Friday? Where we have the meeting of like the groups of like seeing how things are, like your touch base.
Yeah, let me,
I'm sorry, I make faces when I'm
no,
like
that's all right.
confused.
Let me get to that now, because I gotta get,
Part that I lost track.
no, you didn't lose track. Okay, now can you see the course schedule there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let's just go through that then. And everything is on the schedule, everything is on the calendar. It all should meld together so that you know when things are coming up and are due. So unless it says otherwise, like on this one, the assignments are due Sunday night at 11:59. Okay. So tomorrow night, I need this topic worksheet. Okay. Sunday night is the your first discussion board post.
Okay.
Okay. Next week is the group check-in.
Oh.
Okay. And here's the link for that. And that will take you. I clicked on something I didn't want to in trying to move things. All right. I don't want that. Undo. All right. I clicked on annotate and I didn't want to do that. So how do I stop that? Clear.
I'm not a computer person. That's why I'm a social worker.
Clear all drawings. There we go. I know. I was
At least
just,
that's what I tell everybody at work. So
I was trying to move this and okay. Okay, that'll take you here. Okay, so here's the group check-in that, here's the link, which is just the link you're on now for Zoom. And you just sign in, once you are assigned an agency, just go in here as soon as you can and sign up for a 15-minute slot. Not everybody needs to attend. It would be good if you could, but you know, at least one person from each group. And so I have some daytime stuff and some evening, next Thursday and Friday, the 20th and the 21st. And if none of these work for your group, just let me know and I will make something work, okay? I'll get you one that works. Okay, so that's what comes up when you click on this. So as soon as you get your assignments, get together and schedule a group check-in. The end of next week, like I said, as of tonight, quiz 1 should be open as of 8 o'clock tonight. And you can take that anytime between now and next Sunday, the 23rd. So you have like 2 weeks to take that.
How long is the quiz?
30 questions,
Dang.
30 questions, and 2
How many-
extra credit questions. I'll
How
give you,
many tries we get?
sorry,
How many tries we get?
just one try, but you have 4 hours, okay?
4 hours
You
for
will not,
30 questions.
you will not need 4 hours. I just don't want you to stress, okay?
I'm stressing when you said quiz.
Right.
That's a trigger. I'm so serious. I can't, oh Lord have mercy.
It's
See what
open
you're
book,
doing to me?
open notes, open, you know, you can use whatever materials you want. You can spend as long as you want looking through those materials for the answers, okay?
Oh Lord. Okay,
you
I
can
need to
use-
call my therapist.
You can,
Thank you, doctor.
you can use whatever you want, to answer the questions. You just can't collaborate, like I said. So there's 30 questions, true and false, and multiple choice. It's on Canvas. And there's 2 extra credit questions. So there's opportunity for, you know, if you struggle with some, there's extra credit. And if you get all of them, you get more than 100 points on that. So you won't need 4 hours. It's really not difficult. But anyway, that is open tonight and it will stay open until next Sunday night. Also,
Can I get a reprieve?
let's talk about that later, okay?
Okay.
The other thing that's due next week is the grief timeline. And that'll be due the 23rd. So not this weekend, but next weekend. That'll be due at midnight, the 23rd. So all of those things you can start whenever. Okay, you don't have to wait until the day of, especially the grief timeline. It's not something that you need to be familiar with the materials to do. It's an experiential piece. So if you want to front load things, those are the things to front load. Week 3 is the second discussion post, and the family case study worksheet. Both of those are due Sunday night. You should be developing interview questions so that you're prepared for your interview, and you should be conducting your interview that week. Okay. And then the following week, you'll be putting together your project and your intervention guidelines. And the end of that week, you will be given your presentation. So if you click on this, you get to, well, I guess it's not, it will be Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday that week. So you'll be scheduling your presentation. So again, look ahead. Once you have your assignment, schedule your check-in and schedule your presentation as soon as you can. And you can use this spreadsheet then to see when people's presentations are so that you can sign in and view them live. Okay? So everybody's going to have access to all of this stuff so that you can use it for that. Okay? And at the time of your presentation, you'll also submit your intervention guidelines on the discussion post that I've allocated for that. And you will have the quiz 2 will open the day after quiz 1 closes and will be open until that Sunday, August 6th at 11:59, basically midnight. And then on the 5th, you'll have the final class meeting. I mean, on the 5th week, you'll have the final class meeting on August 7th. And your comments on the 6 presentations will be due on August 8th. Because I have to get all of your grades in. One thing very important that I forgot to mention is that we will not be having a Zoom meeting next week because we'll have the check-in. The 3rd week, we will be having a Zoom meeting at 6 o'clock, and I will have a guest speaker. So like I said, I can't require you to come, and I won't require you to come. Maybe I can guilt you into coming because it's a guest speaker. She's a really interesting speaker, Jewel. She has hospice experience, and she now works as a director of social services in a nursing home. So she will be talking about her experiences in working with elders and grief. So that will be a really important class to come to if you can. Again, I will be recording it, so you'll be able to watch it later, but it'll be great if you can come and ask questions. So that's something I forgot to, as I was speeding through all this. But like I said, once you get your assignment, come to this page, schedule your group check-in and schedule your group presentations as soon as you can. And again, if none of those dates and times works for you, please reach out to me and we will schedule it for whenever it works for you. Okay?
And I'm just curious because I'm nosy.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie. I was gonna look up like, just all of her stuff. It's what I want to do. I want to be a hospice nurse. Or not hospice nurse. I want to be a hospice social worker.
Okay.
Specifically in the grief bereavement. Like that is my dream. It's what I want. So I was just looking up her name, if possible, of the person who is the guest speaker. So I could.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's on the course schedule too, but it's Jewel Ratcliffe, Ratcliff. She is also the president of NASW Houston.
Okay.
So
Thank
if you are an NASW Houston person, you'll probably be getting emails from her and stuff.
Oh, cool. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, she's great. And when she did hospice, she was a bereavement coordinator as well. So she'll be able to give you a lot about that experience. So Evelyn, you had a question?
I have a lot of background noise, so I just put 2 questions in the chat.
Oh, okay. Let's see. If I do not have a preferred agency, do I leave it blank? Yes. You can leave it blank. If you have a preferred group, a population, please put that down. Or if you assign me to whoever, that's great too. And I will try to, I'll try to do what I can to assign you to what's your preferred area. I may not be able to, but I'll do my best. And is the quiz from the book? The quiz will cover all of the course materials. So any of the readings that we've had, or there's a couple of podcasts, there's that movie that you'll be watching. So all of the course materials will be covered. My lectures, all of that will be covered. But again, like I said, you'll have 4 hours to complete it. You won't need that on average. I think people took an hour or less. And you can, open up and have, look at any of those course materials. Does anybody else have questions on the schedule or the assignments? Or I think you all saw that the best way to reach me is to text me if you need immediate attention, which more likely than not will. I try to check my email when I can, but if you send me an email or leave me a voicemail, send me a text, as somebody did today, thank you, that says I left you a voicemail or I left you a text, left you an email, so I know to check it out. And so that's the best way to reach me. Office hours are by this Zoom link every Monday night from 5 to 6. But you don't have to wait for office hours. Please don't wait for office hours if you have any questions or anything that you need. And if you're having difficulty with your group or, with your agency or whatever, you don't have to wait to the check-in to let me know and ask for help. Like I said, things go very quickly. And, I know it's hard to coordinate things sometimes. And so I want to give you that opportunity. I want to be available to you. And I encourage you to front load as much of this stuff as you can so that you're not, fried by the end of it. I will say, and I may have mentioned this, I don't remember in the recorded lecture. I think probably this course has I'm not a hard grader, okay? So this course probably has a reputation of being kind of it's an easier way to get a good grade. And I will say that's true and it's not true. Yes, I don't grade difficult. I don't grade with much difficulty or much rigor. I do look for you to be engaged, and I will push for you to be engaged, and I will call you on it if you're not. But the thing that is, it's not an easy, if you get a good grade, it hasn't come easily because it's difficult material. It can be emotional material. It can be triggering material. And so I want you to be aware of that. I want you to know that if you are struggling with something, I had a class, a student once who lost a loved one on 9/11, and they said, I cannot watch that movie. And so I figured out something different for them to do. But, there may be things that you have listened to or read, and you're like, I'm really struggling with this. I need some extra time on this assignment or that assignment. Please reach out to me, because I know that some of these materials can be difficult. And so know that you may get a good grade. You probably will get a good grade, but it's going to be hard won. If you are to get out of this course what is valuable and what you signed up for. So I'm glad that you're all here. I love this topic, obviously. And it's there's something, holy and sacred in this, in end of life care, in grief and bereavement. And there's something very human. It's an experience that we all have. Whether we have it through death or other societal losses, and unresolved grief can have devastating consequences. And so helping our clients resolve that grief, it can result in domestic violence. It can result in higher degrees of mental illness and crime and violent crime and things like that. So if you're a macro person, this course is for you just as it is for the micro practices. So I'm glad that you're all here. So is there any other questions before we go on to this next portion? I want to be respectful of your time. Did
I
any,
just thought of a quick question.
oh yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
So for myself, I live in Colorado and I work in caregiving as a home health aide, and I don't have a practicum right now because I'm a transfer student and I'm doing that later. So can you give me some examples of some agencies that you might pair us with if we choose to let you pair,
Yeah.
or some different populations?
Yes.
Thank you.
So I have somebody who works in hospice. I have somebody who works as a therapist in a suburban school district, in a pilot program there. I have somebody that works in a communities in schools program, which tends more towards at-risk children and youth. I have someone who does, let me just see, because I've been reaching out to people and calling in favors. Someone who works in the Harris County Jail here in the psychiatric ward at the Harris County Jail here. I have someone who does therapy in nursing homes, and that's something that I do as well. I have someone who works in substance abuse in a clinic that works mostly with veterans who are in rehab for substance abuse. So that's just kind of a sampling. And if you come up with something that's not that, I can try to find somebody, because I know a lot of people. I can try to find something that fits in that as well.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I might chat with you a few minutes after. I forgot about office hours, but I don't know if now's an appropriate time to I don't know if I could just work with my client and with her family. She has also early onset Alzheimer's. And
let's talk
so it's a
about
long
that
period.
afterwards. Yeah.
Okay.
Because what
sounds
I'd
good.
like you to do is talk to clinicians in the field.
Okay, then that answers my question. I also was wondering
Okay.
if I should just get something that I haven't done before. So thank you.
Okay. Okay. And I'm very jealous that you're in Colorado, because it is stinking hot here in Houston. So, okay. Any other questions?
Hi, Professor. I do have a question. Is the time frame that we have for this summer class, I know you have a lot of expectations in regards to assignments, but is our time frame actually feasible for all that you're asking for? Because, for example, just to give you an example, we have 2 30-question quizzes that we have 4 hours to complete based on all the material that we're going to see. My question is it actually feasible to complete all that? Because I cannot imagine just having 20 pages open, flipping through everything, watching videos to find the answer. And at the end of the day, we're going to get, a low grade because we couldn't find the right answer, for something.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just concerned about that. Plus, on top of that, we also have to arrange interviews with people, create presentations, 15-minute presentations, PowerPoints, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just, thinking about that.
Yeah, and I get it, and I've been teaching this group for in the summer for I think about 4 or 5 years now. And one of the reasons I have the group is that then you spread out the work for the presentation. And I also teach an abbreviated semester course of this in the spring, and last year I did the fall, but it's only going to be the spring this year, which is, it started out as 14 weeks and then it's 8 weeks. This course has about a half to maybe 60% of what is in that 8-week course. So there's less to do than there is in the 8-week course. I try to spread things out as much as I can. I try to get you to front load as much as I can, but you know, it's been doable. And the quiz, I give 4 hours. Maybe I shouldn't, because maybe that freaks people out, because like I said, usually it takes an hour, you know, maybe a little bit more than an hour for the average student to complete it. And the information is there. If you've gone through and kept up with the materials, it shouldn't be, you know, you should at least know where to look when you're looking for answers. So, and you know, most everybody, you know, gets a good grade in the quiz. It's not a hard quiz. Basically, it's just to make sure that you are getting through the materials. You know, it's not any, there's no trick questions, you know, or anything like that. So most everything you'll be able to answer just by, you know, through the PowerPoint and listening to the podcast. And the podcasts are 20 minutes long. So, you know, it's nothing of great length. So yeah, it's doable. And if you have a problem, you know, throughout the semester and you're having a problem keeping up, you know, reach out to me and I'll work with you. But I also don't want to shortchange you on the material. You know, it's already, you know, I think for the 14 weeks, I used to have 5 discussion posts. For the 8, I have 4 discussion posts. So you have 2. And so, and you know, it's a lot different. But I also want to make sure that you get the material that you signed up for and you get the experience that you signed up for. So. Let's see. Okay. Somebody, the 20-minute time limit, is it too long or too short?
Sorry, I was just trying to clarify, like,
Yeah.
what is stressing people out about the presentation.
Uh-huh. Because I wanted it to be, you know, enough so that you can tease out I'm not looking for a treatise or, you know, just enough so that you can get the concepts across, but not too much so that, you know, people are watching 4 or 5 hours of presentations. And if it turns out that there's going to be fewer groups, then there'll be fewer presentations to watch, but it'll be 6 as the maximum. And if it looks like you guys are feeling overwhelmed when we get to the 3rd week of class, you know, I might just cut that down, you know, to 3 or 4. We'll just see. I'm not a difficult person to deal with, so.
Yeah, I think I was just wondering if like the 20 minutes is what was stressing people out, because I'm not sure for everybody else's experience throughout this program, but 20 minutes is probably the longest presentation that I've had expected in a classroom.
Oh, okay.
For this type of presentation, normally they're max 10 minutes, only because the professor is, you know, watching them as well and having to grade them on all the information. So I wasn't sure if the 20 minutes is what was causing the anxiety for people. But they could also have a different experience than I've had, so I wasn't sure.
Yeah. And you know, if you can get it in less than that, I think I said 15 to 20 minutes on the thing. I've had students that go long, like a half an hour, and at that point I have to cut them off because they get enthusiastic about things. But you know, if you can get it in the information in 10 minutes, that's great. I wouldn't think that less than that would be sufficient. But if you're having trouble with that, again, reach out to me. I've never had anybody express that before. So if that's an issue, let me know.
Professor, it's me again.
Uh-huh.
Is there any way that we might be able to change that time frame for the presentation? Instead of 15 to 20 minutes, could we do it 10 to 15 minutes? Because like my other classmate mentioned, yeah, it sounds a little bit excessive. Talking for more than 10 minutes will bore anybody out. Like, to be honest, just being honest.
Well,
Not
I'll-
everybody's going to be paying the attention past 10 minutes. Plus,
Well,
it takes a very long time to prepare a presentation that lasts 10 minutes.
you'll see when you look at the syllabus that there are different portions of it, and usually what happens is that each person in the group takes a portion and they do it, and there's a PowerPoint and all of that. Let me I'll talk to Ginger. I've never had that asked before, so I'll talk to Ginger about that and let you know. Truly, I think that it will go if you address the different portions of the presentation, it'll fill in itself. But I will talk to Ginger, and if you think you can adequately address it all in 10 minutes, I don't see why you shouldn't be able to do that. But it's never come up before, so. But I will.
Well, I just have
I'll
one
do
quick
that. I
question.
certainly don't want anybody freaking out. I want this to be a positive experience for you, but also a learning experience. So.
Well, my question isn't about the presentations. My question is, what is the percentage of our grades for the from these quizzes?
The quizzes are 30%, 15% each.
Damn.
And then the presentation is 35 with the 3 different components of that. Let's see. And I agree, Courtney. I think once you get into it and you learn about whatever agency you're in and you get to talk to somebody, that it's all gonna flow pretty easily. Yeah, I think you'll all do great. And I will point out that there are examples of all of these things on Canvas in a folder marked, I think it's group presentation resources, so you can watch someone else's presentation, and you can see what the intervention guidelines look like, so you can see what it looks like in real life. And that may put your mind at ease too. I've posted that, so take a look at those so you can get a better idea of what you're dealing with. And I'll talk with Ginger about it. And also, if you find that you're really struggling with it, please, like I said, reach out to me. Send me a text. We can get together. We can talk. We can work something out. Emily, you had a question?
Oh, I just wanted to say, first of all, thank you for your time. And I think that, like, even if the 15 to 20 minutes looks intimidating at first, I think that it sounds like what we're going to have is some really rich conversations, either with professionals in the communities or professionals that Dr. Rogers, that you're familiar with. And I think that the practice expertise and the wisdom that they bring to bear on their work is probably something that will take time for us to appreciate, and it's going to take time for us to explain to other people. I think that grief can be really interesting. I did my first practicum in a grief support agency, so I was really excited about this course to dig in deeper to that material. And I think that the complexities and the nuances that grief can bring out, and the different kinds of grief, I think will absolutely pretty easily fill up our time once we get into it.
Thank you. I think so too. And I appreciate that perspective. And I encourage you to watch or at least view the slides from my introductory lecture so that you can get more of a sense of how the course is going to flow, and you know what we're gonna be learning. But you know, there's going to be some heavy theory in the beginning, but then my goal is that you really get into the, you know, to see how we all deal with this in our practice. And it's also an opportunity for you to meet other people in the field, and you know, make those connections, because you're going to be done soon. Even if you're just starting, you're going to be done soon. It goes quickly, and you're going to be looking for a job, and you'll have people that you can reach out to and say, hey, remember when I interviewed you for this? You know, can you give me some advice? Or is there anybody hiring in your agency? Or, you've made those connections, and you can foster them when you get out of school too. So those are some of my goals, to not only learn the theory, but then to see how it's applied in the real world. And you might get into some of these agencies and they'll say, we don't deal with grief. We don't have grief and loss at all. You know, we're an adoption agency. And so you might have to tease that out sometimes, you know, or they may call it something else. You know, well, what about the child who's being adoptive, the adoptive child? Or what about the adoptive parents who maybe have tried for years and years to conceive and we're not able to do that? You know, what about, you know, all of these other kinds of grief and loss issues? They may not call it that. They may call it something else. So, you know, that's another opportunity. So.
Well, Professor, I just don't think that it's just about that per se. I think the apprehensiveness comes from the time it would take and all of that infused with everything else that we have to do. And a lot of people on this line, some are, you know, their wives, they got families, it's just a lot of things that people have going on. So I don't really think that it's just that part. I think it's a lot of people are concerned about putting so much on their plate that it burns them out from something, and something gets lost in the shuffle while trying to meet the needs of the class. So that's another perspective to look at it. I just don't think it's about talking for 20 minutes, because if you do read and you know the material, and which we all will, because we're here this far for a reason, it's got to be something else. So it's not just how much it is, it's how much it is on top of our everyday lives, because we are working adults, we are mothers, we are wives, we have things that we have to do, including self-care, because without self-care, none of this stuff will be possible. And that's the number one thing when you talk about grief and bereavement and social work and substance abuse and all that stuff that is entangled into this field. So I don't just think it's that, oh, you'll be great, we're going to talk and you're going to love it. No, it's deeper than that. So let's just not stay on the surface. Let's consider everything.
I understand that. I believe me, I do. And I've been in your shoes as well. That's why I say it's been very doable. And if you find that you are struggling with it, please reach out to me. I'll work with you. I'm not I'm not difficult to work with. So, if you find that you are, at an impasse, then we will, I'll work with you. That's all I can say. And that, I think that you will find once you get into the materials that it's not as daunting as it may appear on the surface. And so that's why I try to, give you as soon as the course opens up, give you an overview and some things that you can start working on right away. And to front load so that the last 2 weeks, should be mostly, or at least the last 2 weeks should be working on your project. So everything else should be done by then. And then after that, you can do the quiz. So,
Professor, I have a question.
okay.
In regards to the interviews that we're supposed to complete, let's say I have 3 agencies, right?
Mhm.
So my role is to contact somebody in that agency. Let's say I don't know nobody there. So I'm supposed to call them and then try to figure out exactly who, like, how would I determine
Okay,
who
so,
would I interview
yeah.
or how would that work?
So if
Be-
you're giving me an agency, right?
Mhm.
I guess I need you to indicate whether you are, because I'm assuming if you give me an agency, that's because you know someone there or you know who to contact. All right.
Okay.
So if I'm assigning one, I've already talked to the person. I'm giving you I'm giving you their email and you're reaching out to them. So if it's somebody on my list, if you need me to reach out to these agencies and find somebody, I will do that. A lot of times when people, like I said, they'll put down their field agency, so they already know somebody there, and they're able to they're able to find somebody. When I assign you an agency, I will send you an email and say, here's the agency I'm assigning you to. Please let me know if you need me to reach out to them first, or if you're okay, because I will do that. But otherwise, I'll assume that, you pick this agency because you know somebody there or you're doing your field work there. But if you've picked it because, hey, I've always wanted to learn about this agency, then, and you want me to make that first introduction and figure out who to talk to, then, just let me know. And
Okay.
if you don't do it on your form, I will always ask that question when I send you the email that says, here's who you're assigned to. But if you just say, assign me to an agency and I assign you to somebody, I will give you the name of the person to contact and their email address.
Well, Professor, I do have a agency. After you explained it to me, I do have someone that I can reach out to, and I'll send it to you in an email.
Okay, great. So, any other questions? I don't want to belabor things, but I also don't want you to leave feeling like you didn't get to express, your questions or your concerns. Okay, and if you're watching this video, then please just shoot me off a text or an email with any questions or concerns that you might have. I'm going to stop the recording right now.